Welcome to the podcast, Young in Love.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Young in Love podcast. This is your favorite host, Kezia Vilawa. On the previous episode of the Young in Love podcast, we talked about the privilege of love and the abuse of access. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go and listen. Very interesting episode. And then I also responded to some of the questions that I received, the anonymous questions and messages that I received. I received about 18 more questions, but it's unlikely that I will have the time to respond to all of them. So I have selected the first 9 that I received, and I will respond to those questions after the episode, right? At the end. And then the remaining questions, I will respond to the remaining questions in the next episode. So please stay tuned. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing cheating in general. So both borderline cheating and the different types of cheating, right? So borderline cheating is, you're not there yet. You haven't started cheating yet, but you're on your way. You know, all those small things. I think there's even a name for it, micro cheating. All those small things that you do that that will not necessarily earn you the cheater badge, but it's baby steps. They say, now from clap, dance, they take start, So all those small things, we're going to be discussing borderline cheating and then the different types of cheating. And then at the end of the episode, I will respond to all the questions that I have received. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking down at my laptop, okay? All right. So what is borderline cheating? As I said earlier, borderline cheating refers to all the baby steps that you take before you become a cheater. Those baby steps. Borderline is, you're not there yet, but you're at the border. You can't really say he cheated or she cheated. And you can't really say, well, this action is okay at the same time. It's almost like the gray area, when it comes to cheating. What are the different types of cheating? Because we have that consensus, right? That we gradually move away from the traditional notion of cheating, where it's until you knack that you've cheated, right? So these days, you don't necessarily have to consummate the action, right? The extramarital affair. It's not until you have slept with somebody that it will be considered as cheating. There are other things. The first one is emotional cheating. What is emotional cheating? When you start to depend on emotional support and comfort and succor from a third party. Now, the thing is, sometimes we ask ourselves this question: is it possible that your partner can provide everything, will be everything to you in your relationship? Chances are that will not happen, because it's going to be a lot of burden and a lot of pressure on your partner. But that kind of emotional support that only your partner should be able to give you, right? Then you find yourself wanting to get it from some other place, or sometimes it's not even intentional, but you begin to overconfide. You begin to overconfide in another person in a way that you should not, right? And so when you find that you're doing that, you have to be careful, because you're on that borderline, of emotional cheating. When you begin to overconfide in some colleague at work, or someone at church, or at the gym, or just wherever, or even online, but we'll come to that, social media and all, internet stuff. So when you begin to overconfide and over depend on emotional support from some other person, you're angry, and rather than talk it out with your partner, and rather than settle with your partner, you want to speak to this other person, because they just get you. This lady gets me in a way that my wife doesn't. Or, this guy just gets me. Or even the non-verbal cues. I don't even have to speak. He gets me. He understands me. So whenever you're, angry, whenever you're sad, or you're stressed from work, or you're frustrated, you want to lean on this person for support. Be careful. It's emotional cheating. Now, micro cheating is what I have mentioned earlier, right? That it's subtle. It's very difficult to detect, because it's, as the name implies, micro cheating. you're not there yet. You've not even really started depending on, somebody for emotional support. You're not even doing that yet. But you're making suggestive words or suggestive actions. Okay, so an example of micro cheating can be a flirtatious text that you send to someone, right? This is inappropriate. You shouldn't be sending this kind of a message to someone who is not your partner, someone that you're not sexually involved with, like your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband. You find that you send flirtatious text to, somebody, right? And whatever it is you're trying to achieve, I don't know, but this could be, micro cheating. So the thing with micro cheating is that because it's subtle, it's very difficult to detect. How can you detect micro cheating? You have to pay attention to behavioral patterns and changes in those behavioral patterns. For example, you have a partner who never cared before about protecting his phone or protecting her phone and the privacy of the mobile device, but suddenly they become overprotective of their phones. You need to pay attention, right, to that. Another way you can detect micro cheating is a partner who mentions their interaction with someone in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, right? So your girlfriend is always maybe telling you about this one guy, on the internet or at work or at church who whatever, and you're listening to the conversation, but that interaction that your girlfriend is describing or that your wife is describing makes you feel uncomfortable. Now, don't forget I said that with micro cheating, you can't really say this person is already cheating, right? And we're talking about borderline. Those micro things, text, statements or actions, or maybe even inactions, right, that your partner is engaging in. So if it starts to make you uncomfortable, and again, be careful, because the way that you feel, your emotions will not necessarily be the benchmark, the criteria, because sometimes we can be like very jealous. You want to be careful that you're not. So again, you need to just take all of the circumstances into account. Another way, right, that you can detect micro cheating, because it's very subtle, is when your partner is not mindful of the significance of their interaction with others. So for example, you're innocently doing something, or maybe you don't even know that there's a general consensus that this thing, let me think of one sign. Maybe if you do right to somebody, it means you want to like clean the person dry, you want to enjoy the person. That's what this means when you do it. And then your partner may be completely oblivious to that consensus, right? Does it. And you tell the person that, listen, this is what this means. And you did it to this person. Be careful, because this is the general understanding of what you've just done. But whatever, I didn't, it doesn't mean nothing, right? When a person is not aware or is refusing to be aware of the significance of their interactions with others, it is micro cheating. Because if you did something in innocence, or if you did something without knowing, and then you become aware of it, you're informed of it, but you insist on doing it, then at this point you can no longer say it was an innocent act or it was an innocent text, right? So all of these things put together can help you detect, right, micro cheating, because of how subtle it is. The next one is physical infidelity, but I'm not going to talk so much about this because it's obvious, and we're talking borderline cheating, not like the traditional notion of cheating. So physical infidelity is just you've crossed the line. There's no, and sometimes people say, well, it's just what it is, right? A one-off thing. There's no emotion, so some think that it's really cheating when that physical element is there and the emotional element. But if it's just the physical element, there's not really cheating, because you don't love this lady, right? You love your wife, but this was just a one-off thing, a fling, or whatever you guys want to call it. So this is physical infidelity when you've actually done it, and maybe you're just trying to make excuses. I don't know, but it's cheating. Whether emotions were involved, whether you paid for the sex, and I mean, you don't even know her name, you don't know his name, and you don't care because you don't even love them. It was just No, it wasn't just, for your partner. It wasn't just. It means a lot. That's physical infidelity, right? And then the next one is financial infidelity. So financial infidelity occurs when you begin to keep important financial information away from your partner. Maybe your spendings or your savings, or even information about indebtedness. When you start to keep this kind of information away from your partner for whatever reason, maybe you don't want them to run away with you, you don't want them to think you don't want them to whatever, that's financial infidelity. And another aspect of financial infidelity is denying financial benefits to your partner, but granting those same benefits to some other person out there, right? And now I'm not even talking about family, because we have the obligation to take care of our family members and all of that. But I'm talking third party. So your husband wants you to spare this amount, towards a financial or family purse, so you can do something for your child together. But you're like, oh no, I can't, I don't have the money, but you're out there spending it on some gigolo, the same for the guys. So there's something you could be doing with that money for your wife or for your kids, or your wife even asks you for something, but you don't have the money. She should manage, understanding wife, she should manage, but somehow, miraculously, you always find the money to spend on some other small girl outside, your side chick and everything. That is also financial infidelity, right? So you're keeping away, sensitive, important information about indebtedness, your spending, your savings, your investment, and all of those things away from your partner. And you're also denying them, financial benefits that due unto them or that they've requested for, but giving those same benefits, to someone out there. You know how sometimes you just discover that your husband is really some big philanthropist out there, and everybody's coming to tell you, oh yeah, thank you so much, thank your husband, madam, thank you, and you're not even aware. Like, you don't know, he's just doing it. And in your head, you're not going to tell them like, oh, so he did this for you. But in your head, you're thinking, wow, so he was able to do this for this woman, this man, this boy, this girl. And 2 months ago, 6 months ago, I asked for even something less I needed. And he was like, oh, no, I don't have the money, manage. Again, you need to take all of the circumstances into account. Maybe there are times when you can compromise, there are times when you can understand, but if this is a recurrent habit, this can be a form of financial infidelity. Now, the next one is cyber affair. All right, we live in a very interconnected world, and you're able to text and chat with whomever, wherever, and however. Right? Nobody's there with you, your phone, your computer. So cyber affair occurs when you're having intimate conversations, these flirtatious conversations, chat and text and calls of a sexual nature with some other person. And the thing is, right now, there are services that offer this. So XXX rated chats with strangers, the people who, this is their job. Their job is to chat with strangers and just text in wherever way the stranger wants to text. So you're bored, you want to talk dirty, you just go on those sites, right? There are sites where they offer adult-rated conversations as a service, sexual chats as a service, or sexual calls as a service. This is cyber affair, because this is not something you should be doing, right? When you're having all of these types of sexual interactions and stuff with someone who's not your partner, then this is a form of cheating, cyber affair. The next one is commemorative fidelity, or commemorative infidelity, however you want to say it. So in this situation, you're out of love, you're falling out of love with your partner, with your spouse, right? But you're still in that relationship with them out of obligation. Let me stay here for the kids. But you're doing what you want to do out there. You're cheating out there. And this is why some people call it commemorative fidelity instead of infidelity, because you're still in the marriage. You haven't filed for a divorce or anything. You're still there, but you're doing what you're doing outside. But commemorative fidelity is that you're still in that committed relationship out of obligation, not necessarily because you love the person. Someone else has your love and someone else has your attention, right? Sometimes you haven't even like actually, done physical infidelity. You haven't like cheated outside, but you're just out of love with your partner, and it's making you start to consider others and interact with others in a way that you normally wouldn't if you were still in love with your partner. So commemorative fidelity or infidelity, however you want to call it, is one form of cheating or borderline cheating. Actual cheating. Casual affair is kind of, what I said about physical infidelity, where you do it, but you detach emotions, right? So you feel that because you're not into this person, it was a one-off thing, so it's not so deep. Like, why are you making a big deal out of it? Man, or whatever. All right, casual affair is a form of cheating, and it's still cheating. It's like, this one's not even borderline again. You are in it. You are doing it. It's a form of cheating. I'm going to blow your mind at the end of all these types of cheating. Just stay with me. Online affairs, very similar to cyber affair. In fact, they are the same. All of these things online. Sometimes it's like, anyways, I'll never really get to meet this person or know this person. So I can as well, chat away and text away and flirt for all I care. And I don't know who this person is. Chances are that I will never meet them to actually get down with them. You don't need to meet them. Just doing that thing. There's a guy that used to say, "Oh, I love nipples so much. This. I'm like, bro, why are you telling me? Why do you feel comfortable telling me? I don't need to know this about you." Right? Or a guy feeling so comfortable describing his chest to some other person. Like, you have a girl, you have a wife, but you think it's okay to describe how your chest looks, the size, and how comfortable it would be, and how you do. Like, these things, listen, you have to be careful out there, man. Just be careful. Now, I'm going to share something with you. This was a research from 2010, I think. Yeah. And the link, maybe I will put the link down below. Business Insight, and this is for my people watching this episode on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on Apple Podcast, or any of these podcast platforms, and you really want to see me, like you want to see who's talking, go to YouTube. Young in Love podcast on YouTube, right? So maybe there are multiple Young in Love podcasts, but add with Kezia. Just put Kezia to, differentiates creme de la creme. Anyways, back to cheating, right? So did you know that men with high IQs are less likely to cheat? I mean, like, this is from 2010, and the research was published in the journal Social Psychology Quarterly, right? And it says that men with higher IQs are less likely to want to be unfaithful to their partners. Conducted by Dr. Satoshi Kanazawa from the London School of Economics and Political Science. Listen to this. More intelligent men are more likely to value monogamy and sexual exclusivity than less intelligent men. It was discovered that there's a direct correlation between intelligence and loyalty, right? There's a direct correlation between intelligence and loyalty. So if you find that your man is very prone to cheating, like maybe it doesn't have sense. Maybe it doesn't have sense. It doesn't have sense because this study found that there's a direct correlation, right, between intelligence in high IQ men and loyalty. So, I mean, there are other factors that can, jinx the findings of this study, right? But just based on the study alone, higher IQ men are the real deal. Intelligent men are the real deal, right? So, why do brainy guys cheat less? Well, the study suggests that higher status guys have more to lose, so they are less likely to stray. On the other hand, lower status guys might feel the need for more conquests due to resource concerns. This is from Medium, right? So, Marry somebody that has something to lose. Marry people that are intelligent, people that have sense. Because as you can see, I did not say it though, as you can see, this research has shown that the more intelligent you are, especially as a man, the higher your IQ as a man, the less likely you are to cheat. I didn't say it. That's what scientists said, right? So just be praying to marry an intelligent man, a God-fearing man with high IQ and a lot to lose, so that two of you can, be in that marriage together and work things out. You know what I'm saying? All right, we've come to the end of this episode, and now I will take about 9 of the questions that I received. And the first question is, somebody is asking, and I'm going to put the questions somewhere here. Somebody's asking, would you, a preacher of love, agree to marry a 40-year-old guy with a high body count? Excuse me, guys. What does body count mean? Because I'm completely lost here. What does body count mean? You people need to tell me, because all these questions, people are just trying to spoil me. But heaven is the goal. I would marry anybody that meets the basic minimum requirements that I've set in my head. It's not about age, and it's not about body count. It's not about any of those, right? I will marry someone that meets the minimum requirements that I have. I'm not sharing those with you, but to answer your question, yes, I will marry a 40-year-old. I will marry a 35-year-old. I will marry a 39-year-old, provided they meet these minimum requirements, non-negotiables that I have in my head. Next question. Is missionary sexual style the only appropriate sexual style for Christian couples? I don't remember anywhere in the Bible where the appropriate sexual style for married couples was discussed. I don't remember anywhere in scripture. What I do know that echoes throughout scripture is that whatever is noble and whatever is good, ponder on these things. And then when it comes to sex, I know that the Bible talks about not going against the natural order of things, right? So if the vagina is meant for intercourse, right, for coitus, you don't go looking for some other hole in the body to serve that purpose. So I know that the Bible talks about not going against the natural order of things, but now you're talking about missionary. What's wrong if they want to, stand, or if somebody wants to bend, or if somebody wants to be suspended in the air, or if somebody they're married, right? And the Bible hasn't said anything that, this or that. It just says don't go against the natural order of things. So if you're within the natural order of things as a Christian couple, but just changing style, I don't see what is wrong with that. So to answer your question, I think no. Missionary sexual style is not the only appropriate sexual style for Christian couples. I'm not a sexual expert, so if you need professional guidance, whatever, please speak to one, a Christian sexual expert, sex expert. Speak to one. Kezia is not that. Next question. Do you have a favorite Nigerian celebrity? First off, no. No. I don't do favorite celebrities. I don't do mentors. I don't do mentees. I don't do any of that thing. I don't do any of that. I don't do mentors. I don't do mentees. I don't do favorite celebrities, favorite this one, pastor, favorite deacon, favorite usher. I don't have no favorites. My only favorite is Jesus. Do you have a favorite Nigerian celebrity? No. If so, give a reason why the person is your favorite. Anyways, I don't need to answer part 2 because part 1 settles it. I do not have. Moving on. Next question. Where would you mostly prefer for your lover to plant a non-affectionate kiss before leaving you in the morning for work? On my neck. On my neck. On my cheek. I don't know, as the spirit leads. Non-affectionate kiss, Ain't nothing like non-affectionate kiss. Every kiss, I know is touch my skin. It's affectionate too. Well, maybe apart from holy kiss, but I don't want no holy kiss. Like, with my partner, it's affectionate. Next question. How many kids do you want? As the Lord pleases. As the good Lord pleases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As the Lord pleases. As I'm saying, as the Lord pleases, somebody's wondering, boy, you're not in control, but as the Lord pleases. But anyways, maximum of 5, I think. Maximum 5. Next question. Describe your most memorable, fun experience or moment ever while you were recording an episode for Young in Love podcast. Man, this was when I was in Port Harcourt. I used to record in the studio. So all I just needed to do was like go to the studio with myself, or if I had guests, with my guests, and then would record and I would bounce out. I had this really nice chick that used to handle my production. She was in charge of the actual recording, the mixing, cleaning up the audio, and the production. She just used to send me the finished audio, and it was such a sweet working relationship. And the most memorable for me was when I recorded the episode on high school sweethearts, right? Because I was not just discussing high school sweethearts. The guests on that episode were my classmates from high school, secondary school, and I strategically invited the people I knew had something, like some sort of crush or whatever on that episode. Man, it was fun because I was hearing some things from high school that I had not known prior to that time. I just knew that there was this connection, but there's some details I heard. I'm like, bro, okay. So that's one of my most interesting episodes. I mean, while recording, because this is your question, while you were recording, right, an episode. So high school sweethearts. If you haven't listened to that episode, go and listen. If you're listening on YouTube, I don't think you will see it, but you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast. Look for that episode. Man, interesting. The title of the episode is High School Sweethearts, right? So nice. I hope I've answered your question. Now, another question is, do you play video games? You never ask me if I play games. Me, that if I buy phone, there are games on the phone, I will delete the games. I'm talking of video games. Well, maybe it depends on who is playing with me. Because playing alone myself, I don't know. Oh, I don't think I do. I don't. Next question. Share the weirdest or most embarrassing pick-up line which you were told. I don't know about most embarrassing, but about weird. For sure. This one guy that was trying to talk to me, he said, I know that you are young and you want to live life, young baddie, or I don't even know the word he used. But this is what he said, that he likes women that keep nails. So I should not look at him as, a man that is too old and will stop me from this. Like, guys, look at my nails. I don't even do nails, but maybe he just felt like saying these things, that he won't stop me if I want to do my nails. He won't stop me. That wasn't even the main thing. He now said that one thing or another thing that turns him on is pubic hair. As in, she doesn't need to be shaving. She can keep the thing bushy like that. I'm like, why? Is this what you tell me to get me to talk to you and, say yes to you? I was worried because why are we talking about pubic hair? Why do you think it's so, if it was a fetish, I don't know, but it was just like, anyways, he's somebody's husband now. So, and I think this is about the last question now. The last question is, guest features on Young in Love podcast have been far in between lately. Is this deviation intentional or there is difficulty in inviting guests? Deviation. It's not a deviation. If you've followed my podcast from the beginning, you know that it has always been a mix of solo episodes and episodes with guests. So sometimes I have guests and sometimes I don't. And I think on one hand, maybe it's intentional because there was a period I was having guests back to back to back to back until it started getting to the point where I felt like I didn't know how to podcast by myself. I wasn't comfortable just speaking, doing solo episodes. I'm like, no, it shouldn't be this way. I should be okay with both, having guests and, doing an episode. It got so bad that if I didn't find a guest, then I didn't have an episode to record. I'm like, no, with or without guests, I should be able to do my thing and say my thing, have guests whenever it's really necessary, So I just decided solo episodes, except I have a topic that, I think, okay, this person is suitable for, and then I approach them. Would you mind discussing this with me on my podcast, or, just stuff like that. So it's not about difficulty per se in finding guests. I've actually had some offers about, can I be on your podcast? Can we discuss this on your podcast? But sometimes it's just the modalities around arranging remote recordings. I'm the kind of person, I like in-person interactions, especially on my podcast, because for me, it's just not the same. I've done remote recording and I have done in-person recordings, and I always preferred the in-person recordings because the synergy, you're there like boom, 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 everything is happening. Like you can feel it in a way that you can't with remote recording. So I just prefer in-person, and it's not about not finding. I think I just want to be comfortable doing my own thing and then invite guests when necessary, right? So I think this is the last question. Yes. For the other 9 questions, if you ask the question, please stay tuned on the next episode of the Young in Love podcast, and I will address your question. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button. This is not just for YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or wherever, follow the podcast, subscribe, please, and share, okay? Share. Let this be a conversation starter with your low IQ husband or high IQ husband, or somebody who you think is cheating and you want to start. I don't know. It's a good cover. My episodes are good conversation starters. Share with them, right? And subscribe. Now, until when next we meet, bye and be good. Thank you for listening to this episode of Young in Love. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you did, you can rate us and write a review on Apple and Google Podcasts. Feel free to like our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram at younginlove_podcast. Share this podcast with your family and friends. Subscribe to Young in Love podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support Young in Love podcast, you can do this on our Patreon account by visiting patreon.com/younginlove and making a small monthly donation of as little as $1 every month, or even bigger donations as you feel led to. But hey, if you cannot make any donations, that's fine too, because besides just money, Young in Love podcast has thrived and will continue to thrive on the prayers and good wishes of good people like you. Until the next episode, bye and be good.
Young in Love.